All right, how's it going, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Nick at night here. We got Nick Marro here with DFS Jayhawk, helping you break down tonight's main slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel. We got a nice five-game NBA slate tonight, right in that sweet spot. We get questions about which size slates we like. I do like this one. I will say, I was joking around with Jayhawk right before we went live. One of these games is on an island at 11 p.m. Eastern. I think this is the first time the NBA has done that, so a little bit obnoxious, but pretty good games across the board. Should be competitive. Jayhawk, any initial first thoughts on this slate as we are about to break it down?
Yeah, it looks like a fun one tonight. Bunch of great spend ups up top. I think there's a bunch of spots we can get to. So excited to break this one up.
Yep. Shouts out HB Cards. We got Luke here, Heath. Knew we had some issues yesterday, guys, with my mic. I'm hoping it's a little bit better today, a little bit closer to it. So hopefully that's good. I'll try to keep talking loud. It still sounds like the computer mic, HB. Let me check my settings here. So I'm going. We're in audio. Yeah, this is kind of silly. I mean, I could switch to the headphones, but I don't think that's going to be better. He's saying it's better. I don't know, HB. I mean, again, I can pull it closer to my head here. Hopefully, this improves. But yeah, I don't know. The levels show good for me, so hopefully we'll get started. Feel free, guys, to comment. Appreciate you being here, Heath. We got Barry here as well. And yeah, HB. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to keep working on this microphone, but I'll try to talk loudly. So let's get into the slate here. We have five games. Every game is kind of staggered except the 8 o'clock window. There's two games that start at 8, but we do have a game at 7 p.m. Eastern with some news to get through. We got the 76ers on the road against the Washington Wizards. Only slight favorites on the road are the 76ers. They are getting Joel Embiid back tonight, but Embiid is going to be on a minutes limit, 20 minutes. So just keep that in mind. We're also looking at Paul George, obviously out, no Dominic Barlow or Jared McCain as well. So this team's a little bit healthier than they have been. The big story for these guys has been rookie VJ Edgecombe early in the season. This guy, I think, has put up 40-plus fantasy points in every single start so far this season, regardless of whether Embiid's in or not. Good matchup here tonight. One of the higher totals on the board at 395.5 points. Probably my favorite play from this team. Not going to be a surprise. The field's definitely getting there as well. Oubre coming off of huge games drawing ownership. Don't mind getting to Maxey. There's a lot of great guards on the slate, but for me, Jayhawk, it really is Edgecombe as far as like core plays go for Philly. I'm going to try to mix in some Maxey if I can, but I'm only playing a handful of single entry lineups tonight. So I don't know that I get there, but yeah. Edgecombe, tough to get away from. Go ahead and give these folks your breakdown of these 76ers.
Yeah, completely agree there. I think Edgecombe, definitely the top play here from Philly. Kelly Oubre, the model does love. I'm not as high as the model is here. And then in terms of Maxi, I do like him a lot up top. I think there's a bunch of great spend ups though. So I'm probably just going to try to match the field there.
Yep, totally with you. Luke asking about AJ on the Thunder. We'll get to these questions, guys, but we try to keep them game by game for the flow of the show. But definitely get them in. We should be able to touch on everyone today. Unicorn Love saying he's sticking with Grimes here. I mean, it's kind of a tale of two prices, in my opinion. If you're playing on FanDuel, I do like him. 5,100 makes a lot of sense. On DK, though, 6,400, a little bit tougher for me to want to get to. Yeah, Jayhawk. Any love for these secondary guys? You already covered Oubre. It's kind of the same deal, right? Both these guys are a bit too cheap on FanDuel, maybe a bit overpriced for their ownership on DK. But yeah, I think we're seeing that reflective in the ownership projections right now. Neither are that popular on DK, and they are on FanDuel. So go ahead and kind of break out these wings for Philly, just a little bit more detail.
Yeah, so starting with Grimes, like you mentioned, I think he's much better on FanDuel. Obviously, big price decrease there between both sides. So definitely prefer him over there. And then in terms of the rest of the team here, who was the other guy? I'm sorry, you mentioned. I lost it.
Oubre you talked about. Just
Yeah,
Grimes and Oubre, really, like
yeah.
as wings.
I think Uber is probably my preferred option there. But yeah, I think Grimes is definitely better on FanDuel.
Yeah, again, it's a summarize, guys. We're both really on Edgecombe. We like Maxi as well
Yeah.
if we can mix him in. Those wings are fine, but more of plays on FanDuel. Over on the Washington side of things, Bilal Coulibaly is out. Trey Johnson, who I do want to talk about in a minute, is in and available. Trey Johnson kind of getting overlooked, but he's been really, really good, even coming off the bench for this team. He is someone tonight if no one's going to roster him, I recommended them the other day, and it kind of worked out. Don't mind mixing him in. I actually think point per dollar, he's one of my preferred plays here. Kaishan George in the running for most improved. Everyone's kind of been on that bandwagon lately. He looks excellent. Obviously, CJ McCollum should see a boost in usage with this team compared to his time in New Orleans. Yeah, they just don't have that many guys that can shoot here. Middleton still not playing 30 plus minutes, but another guy who's going to shoot the ball a lot. Tricky spot, man, but my favorite play here is probably Trey Johnson. And I know it feels a little bit thin, but yeah, even coming off the bench, he has shooting guard and point guard eligibility on both sites. I'm fine with it, man, as a way to get a little bit different. There's not a ton of stands I want to take on this slate necessarily, but Trey for me is one I do have circled. Go ahead and kind of give your overlook of these Wizards.
Yeah, I think Trey's a great call, man. He's around that Case and Wallace price where I think a lot of the field will flock to Case and I think he's a great pivot there, as well as CJ. I think CJ is going to be super chalky, so I love that pivot there, Trey Johnson. He's a very good DFS producer, so I love that shout.
Yeah, and again, it is important to kind of find ways to get a little bit different. On these 5 game slates, almost all of the good expensive plays are going to be popular, so just keep that in mind. Someone I do want to also highlight, second year now, in Alexandre Sarr. He's been playing really well, but capped around 25 minutes. He's going to be seeing a lot of Embiid here. He's someone I don't mind mixing in, but I do prefer him on FanDuel even for a little bit more just because you could use him as a forward. Don't love the matchup, but with Embiid limited, maybe that helps him out here. I don't know why his minutes have been capped. He hasn't been in any sort of foul trouble. But what's your take on Sarr, man? Because the model does love him. They're ranking him as the best wizard here tonight in terms of OF index rating.
Yeah, so Sarr's definitely interesting in my opinion. Center isn't necessarily loaded tonight. So I think in the minutes that Embiid is off the court, I think he's definitely gonna, crush here. I do worry about when Embiid is playing about potential foul trouble, but nevertheless, I think he's a great play at low ownership. So yeah, he looks good in tournaments. I don't know if I'd get a ton of them, but definitely fine with it.
Justin, we'll talk about Hart when we get to the next that game coming up. Yeah, Embiid back cap ceiling on these other guys. Not so much AL. I mean, he's been in a lot of these games, and we've seen crazy upside from. I mean, I'd say it would maybe affect the secondary plays like Oubre and Grimes, but for Edgecombe and Maxey, we continuously see the upside out of them, even with him on the floor. Can you stack 4 Philly players on FanDuel Unicorn? I think you can. It's just you're really tying yourself up in those early games if we do get any late breaking news. Luke here said he'd rather stack Miami or OKC. Totally get that. We'll get to OKC. No Chet tonight. Obviously going to be super important. Claire Mooring here saying FD, let's go. Barry, Philly on a back-to-back. Top 2 played 42 minutes. Yeah, that hasn't been an issue for them. It is a good point to bring up, Barry. But until we see them with any sorts of limits, I wouldn't be concerned. And again, we also have to bake in the fact that this is a great matchup against the Wizards. And then, yeah, Jalen with an eye from Unicorn here. We'll get to OKC in just a moment. Before we do, though, guys, we do have another game before 8 o'clock in Charlotte at Miami. Let's go here. So Miami favorites at home. Another very high total, 241.5 points. Tighter spread than I was expecting, if I'm being completely honest. But we got to keep in mind Miami is without Tyler Hero. Team by team, let's start on the Charlotte side of things. The big news is Brandon Miller. He's going to be out for a little while, right? We also have no Josh Green. Trey Mann is questionable. Peterson, Reeves, Simpson, Williams all out. No real surprises there. LaMelo Ball does look much better with Brandon Miller off the floor. He can take as many shots as he wants. Coming off a tremendous performance in which he really kind of played the expectations, at least for me. And if we're looking at OF index on the entire slate, a little bit surprising. He ranks second today behind only Giannis, ahead of Maxey, ahead of SGA, ahead of Harden, ahead of everybody else. So probably do want to be getting to some LaMelo if you can't afford it. The kind of core play for me in cash builds and everything like that is going to be Colin Sexton. Going to start alongside LaMelo doesn't obviously have the same upside, but point per dollar, an excellent play, likely to play 30 plus minutes. Obviously, he can shoot, assist, does everything. So totally fine getting to him. And then Bridges is another guy who the field doesn't seem to be getting to at all on FanDuel. He is getting some love over on DK. Played terrible in the first half last game against Washington. Did bounce back and almost got the value regardless, but a guy we can expect to push 40 fantasy points if this game's competitive. I mean, I could go down this entire team, Jayhawk, but before I do that, how about you give me your favorite Hornets and just kind of your overall outlook on Charlotte tonight?
Yeah, so starting with LaMelo up top, I mentioned this in Discord 2 nights ago, but going into the season, LaMelo's usage rate was kind of down compared to last year with Miller in. But now with Miller out, man, we're going to see a bunch of more shots, a bunch of more usage going to him. So I think he's a fantastic play as ownership. I love LaMelo once again here. 22% is too low. And then I agree, Colin Sexton, probably the cash game play here on both sides. Just really good price, decent matchup. So love both those guys. And then the rest of the team, I'm fine with Bridges, but I don't love him necessarily. I would much prefer the two guards here.
Yeah, I'm with you. One name I do want to bring up, and it's more of a tournament pivot than anything else, is rookie Concanuple. Shot really well against Washington. I mean, he's been shooting, and with Miller off the floor, I do think he's going to get more open looks. The thing is, he is scoring dependent. Went 5 for 9 from 3 last time out. If he could do that again here, he's going to be a pivot off of some of this chalk that we're seeing in Philly and OKC. So I like Canuple as a tournament mix-in. But again, if I'm only playing a handful of lineups tonight like I am, really trying to nail that perfect single entry, I don't think I can get to him. But for those of you looking for pivots in large field contests, I do think Con is worth mentioning. Kalkbrenner didn't play great last time out. Probably get the start here again. But it is notable that Plumlee does seem to be part of this rotation. They're running a 3-center rotation, so just kind of monitor expectations. And again, Miami, tough defense. Never a great spot for opposing centers with the likes of Bam in there. But yeah, any last thoughts on Charlotte before we move on, J-Huck?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Kalkbrenner, but I just think it's a tough spot, man, like you said. Yeah, I don't love it either.
Yeah, Justin asking about Watford. We'll get to him in just a minute. I don't think he's going to be something tonight. But over on the Miami side of things, no Tyler Hero. Obviously, that's going to be significant. Simone Fontecchio, not enough minutes lately, but he's been shooting the ball really well. He is probable. KJ is out. Norm Powell is questionable. This is one of the more significant pieces of news that I think we're still waiting on. I don't know if we've got it since we started the stream, Jayhawk. Anyone in chat, feel free to let me know. But if Powell is in, I don't mind him. But if he's out, it is going to provide a significant boost to the rest of these starters. He's been taking a lot of shots this season. Davion Mitchell, someone I'm fine getting to, kind of similarly priced as a Sexton. I do prefer Sexton, but as a tournament pivot, I don't mind him. I think you could play both regardless. And if Powell is out, I think Jaime Jaquez becomes even more appealing. Already kind of a tournament dart. He's been playing extremely well, hitting value in 3 straight contests. Someone I have circled as a consideration tonight for value. I like him a little bit more than someone like Jovic. And then Bam is Bam, Wiggins is Wiggins. Those two guys are priced where they should be, but really solid here in a plus matchup. And again, if we get Powell out, they're both going to see a boost to the point that I think we have to consider them core plays. Jayhawk, have you heard anything about Norm Powell yet? I kind of think he's going to play, but he is listed as questionable. I don't know yet. And regardless, I do want to get to some Bam and Wiggins. But yeah, do we see Khalil Ware start again? Who are you getting to for Miami? Excuse me.
Yeah, so starting with Powell, I'm actually leaning he might sit here. I don't know for sure. I think it's probably close to 50-50, but we'll have you guys updated. But I think for Miami here, Bam obviously up top looks phenomenal. Fantastic matchup. Totally fine there. The guys I really want to look to, though, potentially with Powell out, you mentioned Hawkes. I think he's too cheap either way. And then I think Nikola Jovic, too, is too cheap on DraftKings. So those two in particular, if Powell sits, I really, really like here.
Yeah, we've seen some good games out of Jovic. I don't know. I think one came without Khalil Ware. We're going to see Ware starting next to Bam. Do you have interest in Ware? For me, it's just a little bit too thin. A guy that we're only projecting for around 22 minutes. But again, I mean, we've seen him spike his ceiling like he did against Memphis. It's possible. Probably a no for me, regardless of whether Powell's in or not, though. How about you?
Yeah, I think Ware is solid. I have him projected to hit right around value, but I don't think he's a smash by any means. So I'm trying to get a little bit, but I'm not like going crazy with it.
Yeah, good point here from Lord King Guru. Midday downgrade usually sit around 71% of the time. So if we're going to take that into consideration, it does seem more likely than not Powell sits. I mean, just thinking back to his time in Portland and even LA, he's a guy who does try to play even hurt. So wait and see. But personally, I'm going to wait. Yeah, I don't want to make any assumptions. And yeah, 15 minutes ago, we did get word that he remains questionable. So more about nothing from Eric Spoelstra. Hopefully, we do get that news soon. But yeah, I think Bam and Wiggins are going to look good here regardless. Let's get into the 8 o'clock window now. There are 2 games here in this 8 o'clock window. First, let's go with the Knicks taking on the Bucks in Milwaukee. Knicks are actually slight favorites on the road here. A little bit of a surprise, 229.5-point total. McBride is out. Robinson's out. Cat is probable. Yabusele is questionable. So Josh Hart is back in and available. We have him for just under 28 minutes. Someone asked about him earlier. I think he's fine to mix in, but he's probably still coming off the bench, which is a bit of a concern for me. My favorite plays here are those mid-range plays, though, in Mikal Bridges and OG and Anunoby. OG continues to produce at a pretty high level. He put up a dud against Boston, did bounce back a little bit last time against Miami. Cat, fine, but I don't know that I want to use that salary on him here against Giannis. He's certainly capable of hitting an upside. And then Jalen Brunson, another good guard play on this slate. We just have so many. It's just tough for me to call him a priority, especially where he's owned over 20% on both sites. But with McBride out, I don't really know who benefits. Is it Jordan Clarkson? Like, do we want to take that chance? Probably not. Maybe Landry Shamet gets a few more minutes. Not that he's going to be super playable, but Jayhawk, I mean, I don't know. The Bucks defense is good. I wouldn't say it's great, but it is not the best matchup on the board. But yeah, I think with McBride out, I was kind of hoping maybe something would pop for me, but I'm not really getting many Knicks right now. How about you?
Yeah, I think mainly for me, it's Jalen Brunson here. I just think his DK price is way too cheap for his upside in this spot. So I love Brunson in both formats tonight on both sides. One of my favorite plays in tournaments. Then after that, like you mentioned, Cat's in a pretty tough spot here against this Turner and Giannis in the front court. And then other than that, I feel like all these guys are fine in tournaments. Bridges, OG, Hart, but I don't have one that like really sticks out to me. Do you have a different take than me on that?
No, I mean, I do think Brunson's ownership's a little bit inflated just coming off the game against Miami where he was outstanding. But
Yeah.
again, I also think he's underpriced. So that kind of cancels out that thought. I would rather play him than Gat, especially if they're similarly owned. But yeah, I think they're both fine. I wouldn't argue against anyone playing either. And then, like I said, OG probably my favorite here just because he does everything. Bridges can spike an upside, but again, we're seeing it less often than we are with OG, and they're priced similarly. So that's about it. Like I said, I don't think we're getting a huge boost for anyone with McBride out. But yeah, any last thoughts on the Knicks before I move on to the Bucks?
I think we're good.
Cool. All right, so we got Milwaukee here. Cole Anthony, who I think missed one game, maybe two, he is probable. Kyle Kuzma, who missed some time, is available. No Kevin Porter Jr. Gary Trent's going to be available as well. So yeah, this team, I mean, Ryan Rollins has looked good as the starting point guard, but we got to keep in mind Cole Anthony missed some time there. With him coming back, that could cut into Rollins' upside. The field is still getting there. I think at the price, he's fine. Not really going to call him a priority. I'd much rather play Sexton for the same price who we already talked about. Then the top OF index play on the slate, no surprise, is going to be Giannis here against the Knicks. He's gone for his 68 plus fantasy points in each of his two games this season. I thought the Bucks had played more than that, but yeah, love Giannis if he can fit him. It's just a question of how much value you're getting in with the rest of your lineup. Miles Turner has been a bit of a disappointment so far. I do think he's going to start to spike more upside. I don't mind mixing him in, but really for me here, man, it's just Giannis, and it doesn't feel great, but I mean, I don't know. He's been such a dominant play in terms of usage, in terms of rebounding, everything, checking all the boxes. I do think he's one of the safer payups on the board tonight. Getting to a lot of him. Not sure I get to much else. Jayhawk, how are you going to handle the Bucks?
Yeah, man, it seems like every slate that I've played with Giannis has been almost a plug and play in most of my lineups. He's just been on a tear, man. So I think he looks awesome at top. By far my favorite play here. And then good call with Cole Anthony. He's back tonight. I think the field might chase Rollins a little bit here, so I'm not that high on him at this price and ownership. And then yeah, the rest of the team, man, just very tough to stomach getting to a bunch.
Yeah, Cole Anthony in 26 minutes put up 43 fantasy points against the Raptors. So probably someone that you could pivot onto if you're playing a bunch of lineups here, and the field does continue to go to Rollins. So I don't mind him. But like I said, Giannis is really the play I have circled here. We do got a comment in here from Swerve saying, don't forget your play of the day, Jayhawk, if you're not on the Discord tonight. But let's use this as an opportunity to plug behind the paywall. Every day, guys, in addition to the stream you have here, we cut off a half hour before lock, right? That half hour up until lock, we always have someone in Discord talking through the starting lineups as they come out and answering questions. Jayhawk here is on double duty today, so that play will stay behind the paywall. Not that we're not giving you the goods in all these games, but yeah, I just wanted to plug that real quick. Unicorn saying Portis is due. I mean, yeah, man, yes and no. certainly can spike in upside. His minutes are so inconsistent, though. We haven't seen him play over 23 yet this year, so I would proceed with some caution there. And the word "do" in DFS to me is like a bad word. It's a curse word. I try to avoid it as much as possible. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but just proceed with some caution in that one. We do have another game in the 8 o'clock window here. The Sacramento Kings taking on the Thunder. Thunder moderate favorites at home, 226.5 point total. Starting on the King side of things, still no Keegan Murray. That's honestly really the only significant injury here. DK Clifford out as well. But yeah, I mean, Sabonis's minutes do seem to be back to where they should be. We were projecting him for 35. He played 36 against Utah, 30 last time out. Put up decent numbers against the Lakers. But yeah, this is just one of those teams now, man, where I think they have so many bodies that are good that they're all kind of priced where they should be. It makes them really tough to get to. I would say think back to the Celtics of the past few years. Like every night, one of them is going to go off. You just don't know which one.
Yeah.
Starting to feel that way about the Kings too. Like I think you could make a case for Sabonis, Levine, DeRozan, even Schroeder or Monk, but I can't sit here and say there's one I feel better about than the others. So for that reason, in a tough matchup against OKC, just not a team I'm getting too much. I will say on FanDuel, the price of Sabonis, where he has forward eligibility at age 600, probably my favorite play over there. And then Schroeder's price is pretty useful. He's been playing really, really well. I don't know if he can keep it up, though, especially as we see more of this usage going to some of these other guys. Tough spot here, man. Don't think I'm getting too many Kings tonight. How about you?
Yeah, I think the Kings, like you mentioned, very tough spot here. Obviously, OKC is kind of depleted, but it's still a really tough spot. So I think if I had to go to someone here, it probably would be the likes of maybe a DeRozan or a Zach LaVine. I think they kind of fit the molds of this fast-paced game environment. But yeah, man, it's nothing I love here.
Yeah, again, I think you can make a case for any of these guys as a tournament play. Great way to get different. Just have one king in your lineup, but I can't really sit here and say any of them are going to be priorities. We may have some priorities here on the OKC side, though. Chet Holmgren is going to be out tonight. Isaiah Joe is out. No Sorber, Topic, Jalen Williams, Jalen, or Kenrich Williams tonight. So their rotation's a little bit thinner than usual. Surprisingly, they're not drawing as much ownership as I thought we might see, right? We're probably going to get Wiggins and Wallace in the starting lineup. That's what I'm expecting. Caruso is back. Usually he would be someone to benefit in this situation, but just keep in mind he's kind of on a minutes limit, not officially, but during the regular season they do seem to want to cap him. He did get 30 in that debut, but keep in mind that was a game that went to double overtime. He is a little bit banged up, so I'm not rushing to Caruso. I like Wallace here at his price. I think he's fine. I'm surprised he's not more popular. Same with Wiggins. AJ Mitchell has been out of his mind. I know we got a question about him earlier. Definitely comfortable mixing him in. I mean, the stats for him are absolutely phenomenal, if we're being completely honest. He's gone for, I think, almost 30 fantasy points every single game so far this season. But again, keep in mind, this team has gone to OT 2 out of 3 of their games. So take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Honestly, man, I think this whole team is kind of under-owned. Like, I'm leaving Dort, Caruso off of my exposures, but SGA I like a lot. I think Hartenstein's a little bit under-owned with Chet out. Definitely has more upside in minutes and rebounding. Kaysen, Wiggins, AJ, all good plays. I don't want to force too many here, but definitely a team I have circled. And looking at the ownership right now, I'm kind of shocked, if I'm being completely honest. I thought we'd see much higher concentration on some of these guys, especially Wiggins, Mitchell, and Wallace. So SGA is SGA, always a good play. But Jayhawk, go ahead and kind of give me your overview of OKC.
Yeah, so starting with SGA, man, I was telling everyone we only saw 2 free throw attempts from him last night, which has got to be a career low for him, right? Only 23 points, so his usage should be even more off the charts tonight with Holmgren out as well. So at 9%, if you want to get contrarian here, it's probably a great spot. A really good matchup here against Sacramento. So I think SGA looks great up top if you can get up there. And then I agree. I think Hardenstein is too low owned here with no Chet Holmgren. So I love him at a center spot in tournaments. And then Casey Wallace is kind of my number 3 here. Too cheap. Model does like him. So I think he's a very solid value.
Yeah, I mean, Wallace, Wiggins, and Mitchell to me are all very appealing. It's funny. I mean, Mitchell, we actually project for fewer minutes, but he's just been out of his mind, man. I don't know if he can keep it up, but he might make my main single entry tonight. I will say that out loud. We did get a pretty good question here from HB Cards. Russ back in OKC. I mean, you can make a case that Russ has revenge narrative with almost every team in the league now because he's played for so many. I don't think he's going to be too upset, but we also got to keep in mind he's like kind of down on the depth chart. I know he's coming off a really solid game, but I don't know, man. Russ is tough for me here. I don't know. If you're playing 150, you can mix him in, but any love for Westy going back to OKC?
Yeah, man, I'd love to play him, but I just don't know, man. Maybe not on this slate. He's only projected for 20 minutes. I know it's technically a revenge, but I don't think it's really revenge. So I'm not huge on that.
Yeah, and again, if we didn't have so much guard value like we do in OKC, like we do with Sexton, like
Yeah,
we even do with the Bucks, if you're going to call Anthony or Rollins, like I'd be more about it. But not all these guys are that popular. I think some of this OKC value is a little bit safer. But again, Russ is Russ. He could always spike his ceiling. Just be prepared to kind of hold a low score once in a while with him as well. So boomer bust play, but definitely a narrative worth discussing. So appreciate the question. Question here from Chris: if we had to choose out of Harden, Steph, Maxey, LaMelo, are we picking two or three of them, or just one to spot with Giannis? I'll use this as an opportunity to segue into the late game. Excuse me, Jayhawk. But do you have an answer for this right now? Obviously, we're about to break down Harden Steph in this 11 o'clock historical NBA game, very very late in the evening.
yeah, man, that's really tough. I mean, Steph's been on a tear. I think for me, I'd probably go one of Maxi or Lamelo paired with Giannis. But I mean, I would not, you know, crap you for going Steph Curry the way he's been playing the past couple of games.
Yeah, and also like there's no real math to this. Like there's no I don't know, true logic, but it's not going to feel good if you're sitting at the top of a leaderboard. The 8 o'clock games end at 10, and you're just waiting an hour for that 11 o'clock game to start. You have no exposure in the late game, and then you just got to wait for that one to play out. But let's get into that game right now. At 11 p.m. Eastern Standard, we got the Clippers taking on the Warriors. Starting on the Clippers side of things, no Bradley Beal, no Jordan Miller, no Kobe Sanders. Nothing too significant there. We've seen really good games out of Harden and Kawhi. They're both priced about where they should be, in my opinion. Kawhi does feel a little bit too cheap over on DK. Zubac's minutes have been a bit all over the place. Brook Lopez has been cutting into his rotation. Not to the point that I want to play Brook, but to the point that it is taking me on Zubac a little bit. John Collins as well, even coming off the bench, has been pretty productive. So I don't mind some pieces here. I definitely think you can make a case for Harden and Kawhi. And I think there is a world where you could fit maybe Kawhi in with like a Giannis and one of those expensive guards. So he does kind of placate to some of the balanced builds here. Derrick Jones Jr., one of the cheaper starters on tonight's slate. As boomer bust as it gets, though. Don't mind him for upside as like a last piece in. Don't feel great about it going in, though. But yeah, definitely like Kawhi. I'm fine getting to Harden. I'm a little bit leery of going to Zubac, especially in this matchup, until we see more consistent minutes from him. We're projecting him under 30. This is a guy who's playing 35 most of the time last year, so keep that in mind. But again, Harden, Leonard for me, certainly. Don't mind a little bit of Collins. Jayhawk, how are you going to handle the Clippers in this late game?
Yeah, so I think the Clippers are super interesting as a team here. I think I'd probably prefer Kawhi out of the bunch here the most, particularly on DraftKings. 7,600 does fit in a good chunk of my builds. I do like Kawhi. Then in terms of Harden, I do like him a ton still. I worry about if he gets outpriced or like the other guards outscore him. So I'm a little bit less on Harden, a little bit more on Kawhi. And then in terms of Zubac, I think he's definitely better on FanDuel for the price, but like you mentioned, with Lopez cutting into his minutes, I worry about the ceiling for him on the slate.
Yeah, and they could go small a little bit with Collins at the 5-2 against Draymond and these Warriors because they can play a little bit small themselves. There was a good clip, I think Harden in an interview was saying how great it is having Brook Lopez on this team as a vet. I'm a big fan of him as a Nets guy. I always love Brook Lopez, aka Splash Mountain. And again, we're not playing him in DFS, but I do think they're going to keep him as a part of this rotation consistently. And Zubac was playing as many minutes as he could handle last year, so I still think Zoo could spike the ceiling, but maybe less often than we were getting it out of him in 2024 to 2025. Over on the Warriors side of thing, no D'Anthony Melton tonight or Alex Tui. That's it. Everyone else is in and available. Steph, very low owned. Obviously, he could spike his ceiling. Don't mind getting to him. Jimmy Butler continues to produce at a pretty high level. Another guy I don't mind mixing in, but his price is about where it should be. Kaminga, if he continues to start, someone I'm comfortable getting to. Coming off a great game against Memphis, in which he had 45 fantasy points in just 31 minutes. And yeah, didn't even make a three of that game and still hit a ceiling. Had 10 boards. So Kuminga doing more than just shooting nowadays, which is obviously great to see. Draymond's fine. Tough to know what he's going to get in terms of minutes. And keep in mind, I think Horford missed that last game. So maybe that cuts into some of these other guys. But yeah, more than anything here, man, I think I'm going to get to some Kuminga. Steph is tough, but I do think it's such low ownership. He is appealing here as kind of that late night hammer. Any love for Golden State here against the Clippers?
Yeah, so Golden State here on the other side, like you mentioned, I think Steph's probably my favorite here. You could get to Kuminga or Butler, but overall, it's probably Steph for me. Draymond 6,100. I just don't love tonight, so it's mainly just Steph, or maybe you could, I guess, get to Jimmy at 2%, but these guys are all just. I feel like they're all just sprinkle plays. Do you have a different take there?
Yep. No, I totally agree with you, man. Justin, you with the question, any love for Bogdanovich? We only have him for 21 minutes, man. He's super scoring dependent. It's like a last piece in to fit an extra stud. I don't mind it, but it's more about what you get with that salary. I wouldn't expect much out of him. Jayhawk, any love for Bogdan, or are there any other dirt cheap plays in this late game that you're liking?
Yeah, I think Boggy is just. I feel like he's such a dart throw, man. You could get
Yeah.
there, but I don't love him, man.
No, I'm with you, man. I don't think we have to dig in too deep beyond that. Honestly, Derek Jones is only a couple hundred more, and we know that he's going to play minutes. No one's rostering him. It doesn't feel good, but I'd rather go to Jones. Like, if there was a big ownership gap there, I would maybe mix in Bogdan, but yeah, I think Jones makes a little bit more sense. Guys, feel free to get your questions in. Shouts out Amar here. Sup to you, my man. Appreciate you all as always. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Helps us get more free content like this out to you on a regular basis. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the breakdown here, man. Are we starting with Giannis? Is that the move? I think it's kind of tough to get away from him in one lineup.
I agree. I love Giannis tonight. Cannot
Yeah.
argue there.
Yeah, no more Dane, no more Middleton. I mean, this is his team right now. Absolutely. Which of the value plays are we liking? I mean, Sexton to me stands out. Obviously, some OKC value as well.
Yeah, I think Sexton definitely one of my favorite plays tonight. Probably
Okay.
Edgecombe too at Carter
Oh
Ford.
yes, Edgecombe has been a beast. Definitely fine with that. Feel free to keep throwing names at me. I mean, I think we want one of the OKC value pieces. Maybe
Yeah,
Wallace is the safest, but I don't know, man. AJ Mitchell, maybe I'm dumb for it, but he's kind of been a beast. And if no one's rostering him, we could play him or both. I do like those OKC guys.
yeah, I'm cool with either one of those guys. I think AJ probably will be lower on, so let's plug him in.
Yeah, let's plug him in. It sucks that he's point guard only. I will say that's pretty stupid. But is what it is. Taking a look at small forward now, we got to stay pretty cheap. We definitely need some value plays. I mean, if Powell's out, like we're gonna want to get
Hawkins.
to somebody. Go ahead.
How many Hawkins at small forward? I think, or is he power forward? Let me see.
He's small forward. I like that. And I think even if Powell's in, we could get the Hawkins. He's just been so good in his minutes running that second unit. Totally fine with that. Center, probably looking to go cheap here. Um, I don't know. I mean, Hartenstein with no
Yeah,
Chet makes a lot of sense.
I like that a lot. You can always go Giannis at center too if you don't like any of the centers.
Yeah, that's true. Forward, we're looking to stay cheap on these next couple plays. Maybe we want to get some exposure to this late game so we have a reason to stay awake. It's tough to find good cheap plays here. Let's see. Let me just select this game and see what we even have in terms of cheap. Forward, I mean, Collins has been pretty good. I don't know. Maybe we just use utility cheap. Any forwards you like that are affordable?
Let's see. We could go double. We could go. Do we have any other mind? We could go Jovic and Hawkins. That might be far fetched though. Let's see what else we have.
I'll say if Powell's out, I'm with it. If Powell's in, it's a little bit tougher. Justin E asking about Drew Smith as a dirt cheap value play. Let me pull him up here since we have the time real quick. I mean, I don't know. If we're playing Hawkes, it means Smith's probably not having a great game. But as a last piece in, if Powell's out, I don't think it's crazy, man. Probably not for me here, though. I will say Jovic feels a little bit better. Let me just make sure there's nothing else in that range. Otherwise, we'll go there. Like I said, Caruso probably is a minutes cap. Canuple, I don't mind. It's kind of gross, though. Let's just go ahead with Jovic. I think that's fine. And then 6'5". Let's get something in this late game. I mean, we got Kaminga here. I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, totally fine with that. Low on play there.
Nice, yeah. Then you can watch that late game to soak Kaminga has scores everyone. But yeah, guys, if we get word that Powell's in, maybe we got to get a little bit more balance come off of Jovic. I think Hawkins is probably fine either way. Really like the rest of this lineup though. But again, we got time today. I know we got a lot of for FanDuel in here. I'm gonna zoom in slightly so we can see this a little bit better. But yeah, guys, any last minute questions? Appreciate you. Feel free to get them in. Are we jamming Giannis here? Do we want to try something else, or just throw some names at me? I'm happy to plug them in.
Let's go. Since wait, Giannis, should we try for a loan? SGA or something like that. He's really expensive, but let's go a little bit contrarian.
Yeah, I like SGA. I mean, we could almost double pay up at guard if we want, because Sexton does have shooting guard eligibility. Um, so yeah, let's go Sexton and shooting guard. Do you want to go Maxi or Lamelo? Another one of these guys? I'm pretty fine.
Yeah, fine with both of them. I think they're both great. Do you have a
Yeah,
preference?
and again, before we kind of build the value around it, let's go ahead and throw, I don't know, maybe Kawhi in here in this late game just to see what happens. All right, now we're definitely going to need some value. I think OKC's presenting some good stuff. We went with AJ on the other side. Maybe we go with Wallace over here. Um, I don't know. Throw some names at me if you got them, man. I'm happy to plug anyone in.
Let's see here. We could go Kelly
The Wiggins
Oubre.
price here is crazy. I think we need Wiggins.
Yeah, we can go Wiggins. Who do we not have? We don't have any Washington. Should we throw in let's see who's cheating.
My favorite was Trey, but we're already kind of filling. Actually, Sexton, I don't know that you need to force him out. Let's go ahead and get Trey Johnson in a shooting guard.
Let's do it. I love it.
I like what that does. Then maybe we go like Canoopel since we didn't go with Sexton, but that's kind of gross. Hawkes again. I mean, he's a little bit more expensive here. We do get Canoopel for dirt cheap. I mean, can't say it's safe, but I do like the value he presents.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Cheap and low. I don't hate
it. Swerve here, take a double sip of water together, make Brian a little jealous. Yeah, I mean the difference, man, is when Brian does his show or when I do the UFC show, if you're alone, it's so hard to just talk nonstop for a half an hour. Like I know I get parched, but yeah, I got a coffee here today, but I'll take a sip and all that. Too funny. But yeah, man, it's nice doing these two mans because we can kind of bounce off each other, catch our breaths in between. We need a cheap center, need a power forward as well. Man, I don't want to use the D word, due. I would say maybe Miles Turner is due. I like Hartenstein in this range. It's kind of gross down low at center.
Yeah, I was just looking on FanDuel. I mean, we talked about Khalil Ware. He's cheap, but I don't love it. That's pretty difficult for value.
Henry Canoopel, top 5 pick, went to Duke, great shooter. Also very scoring dependent and super inconsistent. So he's a boomer bust play for sure. But I am a fan of the kid. And the Nets were scouting for a while, so I got into him. But yeah, I mean Hartenstein makes sense here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's go with that.
I like him.
Yeah. 5K for a forward. Wiggins. Where does have forward eligibility? Which is interesting.
I don't hate it yet. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
probably
Ware. We go Wiggins, or the other thing, we could go really cheap, and this is gross. Go Jones and upgrade center, and we end up with I don't know, Sar, something like this. Either or. I mean, we could even upgrade Canoopel. For being honest, that was kind of a gross play. But there's plenty of ways to go tonight, guys. And again, we're fitting 2 expensive plays here, 3 if you include Kawhi over 8K. On DK, we went with Giannis, but there's good value. Just make sure you kind of like your whole lineup tonight. Even for a 5-gamer, I think we got a lot of good options. Swerve like in Harden and Zoo for the late games. Maybe they can correlate that pick and roll together, get some nice scoring going there. But yeah, any last minute question, guys, feel free to get them in. I'll do a quick look at the news feed here, see if anything's come in. I don't think we've gotten anything. Norm Powell's still questionable. That is the big one we're waiting on, guys. If he is in, he's fine. If he's out, I already like Wiggins. We're going to have to like Wiggins a lot more than we already do. Jaime Hawkes would look even better than he already does, someone we definitely like. Davion Mitchell has been playing above his head, in my opinion, another guy who would see a boost, and then Jovic can start. So Miami, definitely a fluid situation. Hopefully we get that before lock. Again, that does lock 30 minutes after the start of the slate this evening. Jayhawk, any last-minute questions? Oh, Bap, are we fading on us on FanDuel? Personally, in one lineup, I wouldn't be, but we just kind of build differently for the sake of the show, man. If you're building one, I would have him over there. But Jayhawk, any thoughts on that? Is Giannis still your first guy in regardless?
Yeah. We, like you mentioned, we were just going a little bit off the board there with SGA. In terms of cash games, Giannis is definitely the preferred spin up.
Yeah, Brian, this is a good one. Is Jalen Williams a sneaky pick? And again, this is Jalen Williams with an I in his name. Don't mind it. Not the best matchup, but with Chet out, he is someone who should see a few extra minutes. Hasn't gone over 20 yet this year. Not the best matchup dealing with Turner and Giannis on the other end. But if you're looking for value, I don't mind him as the last piece in. So good shot, Brian. Don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I think that's all for today, guys. Obviously, keep an eye on that news, especially that Norm Powell news. Things could change quickly in Miami. But fun 5-gamer tonight. We will be here every night this week helping you guys break down these NBA DFS slates. As always, like, subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter. We got all those links in the description below. Appreciate you. Hope to see you in the Discord. Let's crush tonight, make some money. Take care and good luck.
Good luck, everyone. Let's win some money.